Okay, now I'm going to go over a little bit about what codes to use and which ones to avoid for younger learners. So let's start from the beginning here with the yellow codes. So usually with younger learners, I tend to stay away from interaction codes with sprites because Scratch Junior does not allow this code here to distinguish with what sprite it touches, so that can get a little bit confusing for younger learners. And for message codes, I usually don't do more than one color, so I only do projects that have one color of message code because sometimes they can get confused with the matching colors. For movement codes, things I stay away from. Going back to the starting point can be a little bit confusing for younger learners, so I tend to avoid that. And I also tend to be careful about the rotate codes. So these rotate codes, the best way to teach these is like a clock, right? They really sort of understand that. If you want something to go upside down, you would have it point to the bottom of the clock or a number 6. If you want it to do a full circle, you want to do a 12. So I usually teach it as either no rotation, upside down, or all the way around, which is 12. As they get older, you can use this as a multiples of 12 situation, so 24, 36, 48 for multiple spins. For these codes, I tend to avoid the thought bubble codes. And the reason for that is because they have a lot of problems with the keyboard and spelling words. So you'll be very challenged doing the thought bubble codes with students who aren't familiar with keyboards or are still developing language skills. The rest of these tend to be okay. Hide and appear can be sometimes troublesome because when something is gone, like it still has code that it might follow and might interact still. So I tend to avoid those sorts of code. The next one for sound codes, basically the microphone is super fun. The challenge with the microphone with younger students is that once they know they can record, then it just becomes a crazy mess in the room of recording and they're recording over each other. So this can be a little bit tough for students. They don't know exactly when to start, stop. If I do need to do a recording, I will usually do it in groups, sending one group out at a time outside to stand away from each other and record something. If it's all happening at once in a classroom, it can get to be a bit chaotic. I don't usually mess with repeat loops much for the younger students. I don't actually mess with many of these at all, to be honest. Sometimes speed codes, but for the most part, delays, stop, speed codes, and individual repeat loops can be a little bit confusing for younger students. What I will use is the forever repeat loop. They understand this one, so I will use this one, but usually not much more than that. Multiple backgrounds is also something I tend to avoid with younger learners. And the reason for that is they don't understand that once you go to a new background, it's like a whole new project. So sometimes they'll think that they are not doing something right, or they might keep building. Like in a game like this, they might not see that there was already another screen, and they might start building in the second screen when they already have content in the top screen. So I tend to stay away from multiple screen projects.